Bastards. Today I want to talk about how to escape from locked doors, gates, windows that might are being locked, locked to so to say with locks. So how could this happen? There are several ways. Not on everybody thinks directly to about kidnappers, hostage situation. Um, yeah, stalkers, and that's such people who might want to lock you up in a room for some reason, like captivity. But it's not always in that way, in a criminal intent. It can also be by accident that you sometimes you need to open a lock, like when you were the last person inside of an office building, they forgot you were there, somebody, and they locked the doors, and you're trapped inside of a building, or you locked yourself in because you lost the key while locking yourself inside of a building, a room, or some other structure. Uh, so that is also a possible way, or just like I had to do several times. My colleagues forgot their keys inside of their locker, and they locked it. So I had to open it with my Piclock set that I always have with me, so they didn't have to buy a new lock. So that's very handy and can save money and time and some annoyance on that way. So you can also help other people that way. Helping other people. Yeah, somebody else could also be locked inside of a room. So that's also a possibility to use these the skills of picklocking or opening doors in certain way. Uh, I will now demonstrate several improvised ways you as a prepper can try to open locks and doors. All right, now we're we're going to try with a picklock. This is from a manual, just to show you how a picklock would work. This is the first. This is how a lock would be if it was locked. You see all the pins are on springs, and they must be at a certain line to be opened. So here you see that all the pins are all the way, but if you can picklock them according to the way the key is made and get them into one line, that's when the springs are opening themselves. So that's what we try to do with this thing. Yeah, usually you're going to use a picklock. If you have one of those pick guns, it can go faster if you're trained with this, but I do not prefer this because it's too clumsy for me. I prefer this. Like you always for picklocking, you always need a torch to keep tension on the lock. Like you can, if you put it in the not where the pins are, but inside, and you keep tension on the lock, then you can use a if you can see it, one of those picklocks to get the springs one by one into the good line. If you do not know the layout of the key, it can be very difficult and take a long time. Uh, I'm honest. To be honest, I'm not that good with this, and usually when it happens fast, it's just by sheer luck. So yeah, it's kind of difficult, and that's when it's a simple lock. Simple locks are like they say, they can open very easily. But then you have locks that have some anti-theft mechanism in. So when you have put the first few pins down, and you touch the last pin, the front pins go back up, and such mechanisms. So that's makes kind of difficult and depends from lock to lock. This is supposed to be a easy lock, so I'm gonna try it. First, I'm gonna put it under tension. Like you can perhaps see, kind of difficult. And here beneath are all the pins. If I can just. Like you can see, I keep tension with the torch all the time with this finger, and with my other hand, I try to get the pins one by one down. Oh, yeah. must admit there was luck, but uh, yeah, if you can improvise one of those, the torch and the picklocky with something like a bobby pin or a paperclip, uh, it will be much more harder, I can tell you, because sometimes you need to be able to push hard, and that material could be too weak. But it's better than nothing. It's just an option in case of an emergency. So that's how you open a lock with a picklock set, or uh, yeah, you can improvise it, but it will be much more difficult. So I would say, try to always have a picklock set inside of your. Where did I forgot it to show you. But you can buy picklocks. You have big picklocks like professionals, or you have picklocks that are in the size of a credit card that is wrapped in plastic that you can open. That way you can always have it in your pocket, in your wallet or something, just in case you get kidnapped and locked up in a room. Or like I sometimes have done with colleagues who kept their keys inside of their locker and then closed it off, and then, oh fuck, I forgot my keys inside of my locker. That way you can open a lock without damaging the lock or the 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 door that is being closed, without damaging that, and it will save you some money. That skill. So that's a good reason to be able to practice with picklock sets. I always keep one in my EDC bag and on my EDC person. So yeah, very handy way to open a door if you can practice it. Another way to get out of a locked gate room, and you only have something like you can do tension with, like these two wrenches. You can open a lock like this on a very quiet way, so you can escape without your kidnappers or hostage takers know it. So what you do, you go between in the lock with the teeth of the wrench, and then like an inverse scissor, you try to push it open. I will show you it with this lock. So there is this one lock will take one for the team, just for showing it. Like you can see, the wrenches are going in the middle, and with little force you can open a lock very easily and on a very quiet way, if I must say. So with just two wrenches you can escape from captivity in this way, or when you're locked inside of a certain building, compound, or place. So that's another way. So when your door is locked with one of these type of locks, there is a certain way you can escape. It's kind of difficult, but if you have nothing else than some tin metal from like a soda can, what you want to do is try to carve out a T piece like this from the tin metal. And if you have a lock, I don't have a lock that is has a that's kind of way to open this, but I can show you with this lock the same way. If you can see, this lock has a certain angle at this notch. That notch is being held inside of this when it goes down. So it's possible, not with all, but it's just a way to escape. I cannot show you here directly, but I can tell you how you can do it. You take the T piece out of the very thin metal, and then you can, when it's locked, like you can see, there is almost no space to put something in, even the thinnest material between this. But if it's a lock with a little gap, which some locks can have, you can put this very piece thin of blade metal between the gap in, and you can try to notch this open, just like with the handcuffs, the video with my handcuffs, and that way you can pry the latch that is inside of this notch open with a little piece of metal. Kind of difficult, probably will fail a lot of times, but in desperate times you can and take your resort at least to this desperate measurement. So that's just a way to open a lock in an improvised way. So when the door handle is broken off, and you do it, and the lock with the key is not been put in, it's possible to open the door with a key card or a credit card. And yeah, so what you want to do, it's like in the movies, between the gap of the door, it will be a small gap which a card can fit between. Mostly, what you want to get is try to get this part of the door. You can do it this way. It's kind of harder when the right side is on the other side, but not impossible, but it will take longer and it will be more difficult. What you want to achieve is by going with the cards between the door stand and the door itself, go between, and you want to like get this movement with the card while trying to do this. It's not that easy as it looks, but it is a way to open a door this way if it's not locked and the door handle is broken. It can also be used in doors that will only open with one side, like hotel rooms that uses special keys. That way it can be open, and that's why you see this in the movies. I don't say this works with all the doors, but like some doors have a piece of wood, or it's so made that you cannot put a card between those, especially in modern day buildings. But it's just a possible idea to open a door that way. So, possibility when you're locked in a room and your kidnapper locked the door with a key and left the key on the door on the other side, there is a possibility to get the key to open the door. But it has to be a key that you can push through, that you can push out to the other side, and there must be a gap underneath the door that is wide enough to catch the key. What you do is you take a piece of paper or a kind of piece of paper, you shove it beneath the door under the keyhole, and then with something like a bobby pin or a rod, you can try to pierce the key out like this. If I can do it with one hand, because it's kind of difficult. Yeah, it's kind of difficult with one hand, but the thing is, you push the key out of the other side and it will fall onto the paper, and then you can gently try to retrieve it, take the key, and get out of your prison cell where you're being kept hold. So that's just another way, but like I said, you have to be lucky to have a wide enough gap underneath the door and be able to pry the key out of the keyhole. So what you also can do is try to undo the hinges of a door, like you can perhaps see if this thing will zoom in. You can try with a multi-tool or something sturdy if it's loose enough, or with something like a rod or a screwdriver, poking between these, and try to remove like you can see, this thing above, and pull it all outdoors. Then one way of the door you can open up. So if you have a hammer or a crowbar, you can try to open the doors in several ways. I know it's a little bit crude, but there are several ways to open a door, even more sturdy doors. The the most likely way is to just put the claw in between the door and try to pry it open in the height of the lock and the key. So that way you have more force on top of the locking mechanism. What else you can do is try to bash the lock open, try to hit between the lock and the door frame, so you can try to break those open. Another way, if there is no room between these to use a claw hammer, you just to go underneath the door and try to lift the door out of the hinges, and that way is also a possible way to open the door with just a hammer. So just some ideas to open a door with, like I said, a claw hammer. Alright, if you want to open a door by force, don't do like they show in the movies, like with their shoulder trying to bash open the door. That will never work, and you will break you will dislocate your shoulder, hurt some muscles, and that's not a good way to do it. If you want to kick in a door by force, there are certain things you need to be wary of. First of all, if the door is locked, if you want to kick the door open, you always put a foot right next to the lock on the height where the lock is inside of the frame, the door frame. What you also want to do is try to kick right next to it, because if you kick in the middle of the door, in the center of the door, the wood or the metal of the door can kind of give in and you will lose some of the power. So that's why it's important you do it right next to the door. There are several ways you can do it. Always work from the center of the body mass to get the most power of it without risking some injuries. So if you want to kick, use the I would say use the ball of the strong point of the foot, which is in direct line underneath the heel with the leg, because if you kick with this will give in and it has less power. So you wanna do it with beneath with how do you say this? With the heel of the foot. You can use your body mass and like try to kick it in like that. Or if it's not possible because of the door handle is in the way or some other reason, you can try to find some support somewhere and try to kick backwards like a donkey, essential. But yeah, of course, much harder. But that is the most chance you have to break open the door that way. So if you ever want to kick in out the door because perhaps you're locked in inside of a bathroom or working how do you say this, changing room at work or something, and they thought it was empty and they locked everything. That's a possible way, and like I said, the toilet room can be locked by some joker or something. So yeah, that's a way to break open a door with force. So if you have to open a door with a firearm, that means you're either in a hurry or you're in nearby danger, and you have to get out or in somewhere very quickly. Several things. If you want to do this, it's not like easy like in the movies they say, because there are several things you need to watch out for. If I want to open this door, first of all, don't shoot I would not suggest to shoot the hinges, because there could be several inches, will take more bullets, more time, and if time is of the essence, that will be causing trouble. So mostly you would aim for the one lock in the side of the door. What do you watch out for next? Don't shoot right in front of the lock, because if I would shoot now right in front, I don't know what's behind this door. Perhaps there is an innocent bystander, person who just walks by, and that bullet, a stray bullet that went through the lock, could hurt somebody on the other side that I don't want to. So that's a danger you need to watch out for. How do you solve this? By shooting diagonal inside of the door. So if you hit the lock, it has two advantages. First, you cannot hit you will have less likely to hit an innocent bystander, because the bullet goes sideways and not in front of the door where most people would be in a room. So you shoot diagonal in front of the door. The next thing is, because you shoot in an angle, you get more material. You can damage more material of the door. That way you have more damage to the structure of the door and more chance that the lock is broken, or enough damage so we can try to open the door with force. So that's another thing advantages of it. What you also want to do is don't stand right next to it, because if you do that, you have more chance that some splinters from the wood or metal or the bullet can ricochet around and fly back at you, and you don't want damage from that. So always do it at a distance. The more distance, the more safe it will be against rickshots. So that's another thing you need to watch out for. Uh, I would also suggest protect your eyes for again rickshot splinters that might come, and try to not look at the door if you're not experienced, or don't wear goggles or glasses. Even just sunglasses can help against splinters that can fly around. Um, yeah, and if you're going to shoot at the lock, I would suggest if the lock is purely of metal, like here, that could form a danger actually, because the bullet can do less damage, and you will now have less. You will now perhaps need more bullets, or it will not be effective at all. So what do you do then? You shoot in the material between the lock and the door frame. If you can break or damage enough of this material, then perhaps the lock that is still inside of the door frame can be ruptured through when you try to open it with force, if there is enough damage, like I said. So let's repeat. Shoot diagonal next between the the keyhole and the door frame to damage enough materials and keep enough distance. Yeah, so that's how you open a door with a firearm, I would say. So these were several improvised or other ways to open locks when you're locked in inside of a room, building, or something. Like I said before, I hope you will try to master these skills, practice with it, and perhaps someday it can save your life or somebody else's life. And I will actually hope that you will never have to use it, but it's a useful skill to say. Yeah, subscribe, like, leave a reaction if you have another way to open a door in an improvised way that I can learn from. Uh, so, thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.